The Edmonton Oilers have had an absolutely crazy trade report involving another star defenseman in this league. We're going to be talking about this, what's the possibility, and why fans are going to hate this. As you can see, Seth Jones, but we're also going to be talking about Mike Hoffman, who's been released from his PTO, and where we're going from here, and the reasons that he was released. We're going to be talking about all of this here in this video. Before we do, however, we notice that 89% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. If you're looking for a spot to get all of your Edmonton Oilers news, you're in the right spot. Hit the sub button. Join us here on the channel as we cover everything Edmonton Oilers related. But without any further ado, let's get to our first topic of the video here, which is a pretty interesting one. We have an absolutely insane trade report involving the Edmonton Oilers and another defenseman, as you've probably seen there in the intro, who is not highly regarded in the league, mainly due to his contract and not so much his play. And I'll pull up our first screenshot here, which is from the Hockey Patrol. And the Edmonton Oilers have been connected to defenseman Seth Jones per Greg Wisniewski, I believe is his name. I do apologize if I got that wrong, but this was an absolutely insane tweet when it came out, the report that it came out. I didn't see too many people reacting to it, but everybody that I did see react to this, it was completely negative. Now, obviously, when we do look at a guy like Seth Jones, we know that he's a good defenseman, and there's no getting that the other way. He's a good defenseman, but due to his cap space, and due to a cap space similar to what we see in Darnell Nurse, this is a very, very unreasonable trade, and a trade that the Edmonton Oilers would not do. Still a very good defenseman, but obviously there would have to be a lot of movement to make something like this happen. As you can see, Seth Jones making $9.5 million for 6 more seasons, and that is just completely unfeasible. You cannot work with that, especially with the way the Edmonton Oilers are structured right now, the cap space they have, the defensemen they have, and you would love to add a player like Seth Jones, and obviously it wouldn't happen. Current GM Stan Bowman was the one that signed this contract, so it really does not surprise me that they're trying to go after Seth Jones, or there was a report about it. I'm not sure exactly if the Oilers were going after him, but with the reports and the rumors, it does make sense that it is the Edmonton Oilers because of Stan Bowman. Now, as I mentioned, you would like a guy like this to be involved in the trade, and obviously the cap space is what's holding that back. I'll pull this up on the bigger one. As you can see, Seth Jones, he hasn't been bad over the past few seasons. 31, 37, 51 in the points, and with Chicago especially, that's not horrible. The part that a lot of people are thinking that he's not worth the salary cap, which right now I'll also agree, he's not, but he really hasn't been in a good system. And having him in an Edmonton Oilers squad certainly could be something that may pique someone's interest, may excel his career, his points, his defensive play, everything. He'll just be a better player if he were to go to the Edmonton Oilers. I'm not going to say anything is imminent. I'm not going to say these reports are exactly going anywhere, because I don't think they will personally, but it does just really pique your interest and wonder what could really happen if Seth Jones did become an Edmonton Oiler. And that's something I guess we could probably keep an eye on. You know, we don't really know if or if not that we will see something progress in this, and if we do, could be a bit interesting. But I'll pull up our defenseman here now, and as you can see, Evan Bouchard, Ty Emberson, and Josh Brown on the right side. You would love to add a Seth Jones to that. You absolutely would. You cannot deny it. Obviously, he hasn't been great, but he hasn't been bad. And having him on the right side, which could add another superstar defenseman, it is something that the Oilers probably are looking at. I wouldn't say Seth Jones necessarily himself, but that kind of spectrum of caliber of defensemen who can slot in on the second line, first line, depending on whether you want to play Evan Bouchard with Mattias Ekholm, put him on with Darnell Nurse. There are a few things there, but if a trade like this were to go down at any point, at any moment, the move that would have to be made would be Darnell Nurse. You cannot keep Darnell Nurse with his contract and have an addition of Seth Jones and make it so your defense is making just about $20 million between two players. That's completely unreasonable, and you can't make that happen in today's league, even with the cap space going up. So what do you guys think about this reported trade, the connections between the two, and the fact that Stan Bowman is the current GM and also signed Seth Jones to that contract? Really a bit of an interesting thing there, and see if they will pursue him on that. So Stan Bowman thus thinks he's worth the contract if he's going out of his way to sign that, so let me know what you think. But let's move on to our second topic of the video here, which is the Oilers have made a roster move, and as I said in the intro, this is Mike Hoffman. Obviously released from his PTO, had a good camp, had a good preseason for the little bit of time he was here, and I gotta say, if there was any other scenario, he probably would be on this team. But right now, the way that the offense is structured, the way that we're still running with, a lot of changes, a lot of young players here, who and who not will make this roster and whatnot, it really is just to a point where Mike Hoffman doesn't fit more so than not good enough. And we will see Mike Hoffman, I'm quite confident, on a roster this year at some point. Whether or not it's right away, I'm not sure. But what we've seen from Mike Hoffman really was just set. He isn't done. And as you can see, Mike Hoffman released from his PTO, coming from the Edmonton Oilers directly. So that is final chapter for Mike Hoffman with the Edmonton Oilers as far as we know. But if I pull up the offensive lines, I'll pull this up on the bigger screen here as well so you can have a look. There really isn't a spot for Mike Hoffman. As much as some people really didn't want to see him there, as much as some people did want to see him there, it really just didn't work out either way. Mike Hoffman is still good enough, although we know the past from him, his history. Not the greatest guy, I will say, ultimately. Has struggled the past few seasons, and even with his play now, he's not a top 6, maybe not even a top 9 forward anymore. But with a bottom 6 on many, many teams around the NHL, he would just be a perfect fit. Wouldn't be costing any money and whatnot. But I really don't see him making a roster spot over Matthias Janmark, Adam Henry, Connor Brown, or Vasily Podkolzin, Derek Ryan, or Corey Perry, to be honest with you. And, with the younger guys that we do have still around, coming up from the AHL, maybe making an appearance this season, a few different players that are going to make an appearance from injuries and whatnot. Mike Hoffman could certainly replace them, but there's too much potential to waste a roster spot with Mike Hoffman. So I want to know what you guys think about that one as well. Mike Hoffman, obviously, not the most ideal person to have, I guess, kind of holding a roster spot when you do have some young talent coming up. But there are still a few options, as I mentioned, that the Oilers could do, and most of that will be internally. So that's really what we're going to get from that. And, Mike Hoffman, I can't say, as I mentioned, is not a bad player still. A lot of people and a lot of reaction to, I will pull up this tweet again, the Oilers one, a lot of reactions, a lot of quotes and replies to this tweet were very, very happy that Mike Hoffman was gone. And a lot of them were also saying, this is not bad, but he's just not the type of guy you want to have on this roster. Mike Hoffman still has the scoring ability, still has the bit of playmaking, but it's not as what it once was. And the role that he also could play as a grinder, kind of getting under the skin of other teams and other players and the goalies in front of that job was already taken by Corey Perry on this team. So there really is absolutely no room for him to be able to succeed on this team, to really be able to go out of his way and prove to the Oilers or prove to any other team that he is worth another contract at the end of this season. So let me know what you think about the Mike Hoffman one as well. I'm curious to see what you guys think, along with or in the difference to the replies on Twitter and how people were reacting to that about this Mike Hoffman being released from his PTO. But that's all I got here in the video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. But I'm signing out. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.